So, a wise man once told me that how could you not be romantic about baseball? So now, Jay Kaplan and Anthony Strait here with me. The $1 million figurative question is give me a second quote from Bull Durham, Jay.
Except that quote's not from Bull Durham. That quote's from
I don't care. I don't care. Do not correct me. Give me a second quote.
you want a quote from Bull Durham?
I want a real quote from Bull Durham. Yeah.
You need to play this game with an equal combination of fear and arrogance. Fear and ignorance. No, you hayseed, fear and arrogance. I just like messing with you.
Anthony?
I haven't watched Bull Durham in like forever, so I couldn't give you a quote. Jeez. I could probably give you one from Major League Two,
That's
and
fine.
that is, "You have no baubles." Okay.
uh, anyway,
I don't
I've
want.
seen.
I don't want to say it. Look, there are
Uh,
people. There are people watching this. I don't want to give that obscene gesture. I think you know if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
I've seen the. Yeah, I think we got it
how about now?
immediately.
You got to throw in a quote of your own. Come on now.
I am throwing quote of my own. I wrote the damn script. I should figure it out. This is the simple game. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball, you got it. So
Sometimes
anyway, my
you
name is Steve
win,
Burton.
sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. So
Anyway, this is the mid. Anyway, this is the Midsummer Classic edition of On the Sports Lines. We are almost. My name is Steve Rabinowitz, by the way. We are almost 100 games into the season, but welcome to the mid-season Midsummer Classic. Anyway, make it make sense. With the All-Star game as of this taping being tomorrow, it is time to look at our local teams up and down first half of the season and the surprises and disappointments that we've seen so far as you, the viewer, prepare for the home stretch of the 2025 campaign. And if you are Mr. Met, who slipped at a Lumineers concert this past Friday, you're already prepared for 2025's home stretch. If you have questions, comments, or concerns about what we say, or if you just want to get well wishes to Mr. Met, who I think was partying a little too much on Friday, youtube.com/on the sports lines and facebook.com/on the sports lines is where you leave comments, but subscribe and like first, damn it. We start with the Bronx Bombers, and when I mean the Bronx Bombers, I mean Aaron Judge of the Judgettes. You realize by the end of this season, he's going to have the fourth most homers ever as a New York Yankee. That's insane. That is insane. We're not going to include him in our MVP conversation, which we'll talk about in just a second. A team who left Kansas City, the Yankees, basically a month ago at 42 and 25, has played 11 and 18 baseball since. That means, if you can do the math, that's 53 and 43, and is now looking up in the standings to that team that is not a playoff team. Hey, Michael Kay said it, I didn't. That would be the Toronto Blue Jays. They're 2 games back. So let's just look back and hand out some awards worth its weight in gold. And that weight in gold is absolutely nothing, so do what you can with it. Jay, we're disqualifying Aaron Judge for obvious reasons, but give me an MVP and Cy Young from the first kind of half from the season for the Pinstripes.
Well, I mean, look, we can't talk about the Yankees' first half without actually talking a little bit about Aaron Judge. So, and he's the captain obvious choice. You know, hell, he's arguably hands down the first half MVP of the entire junior circuit, at least outside of Seattle. Aaron Judge is just in a class by himself. The numbers he's putting up again are just Ruthian: 355, 462, 733 slash line, which leads all of Major League Baseball, as does his 1194 OPS, his 228 OPS plus, his 7.0 baseball reference wins above replacement, his 258 total bases, 24 intentional walk, and his 125 hits. His 85 runs scored and 69 walks simply lead the American League. 35 homers, second to Seattle's Cal Raleigh, man who has one of the best nicknames in all of sports, the Big Dumper, as are the 81 RBI. The reigning AL MVP is chasing a triple crown, which hasn't happened since Miguel Cabrera did it with Detroit in 2012. This past Saturday, Judge hit his 350th career homer, fastest ever to reach that mark in Major League Baseball history, 192 games quicker than the previous record holder, Mark McGwire. We are running out of superlatives to describe the Judgian feats he performs almost nightly. So I thought after paying Judge his due respect, which you kind of have to, I'd look at a player other than the captain who has put up an MVP-worthy first half, and that's Cody Bellinger. The 2019 NL MVP has arguably been the Yankees' best player behind Judge. Got off to a slow start, 204, 281, 357 slash line in March, April. Just 3 homers, only 16 RBI, 14 runs scored, only a 638 OPS. Well, since the calendar flipped to May, he's been exactly what the Yankees hoped he'd be. In 60 games across 261 plate appearances and 242 at-bats, Bellinger has a 314, 360, 550 slash line, 13 homers, 38 RBI, 40 runs scored, a 910 OPS. He had a 15-game hitting streak from May 3rd to the 21st. Hit 377, was on base 441, slugged 689 for an 1130 OPS, and a 17-game hitting streak from 623 to 712, where he slashed 397, 413, 726 with an 1139 OPS. Overall, he is slashing at 282, 336, 494, 16 dingers, 54 driven in, 54 scored, 9 steals, an 830 OPS, a 129 OPS plus. The 16 homers, third best, tied with Trent Grisham, the 54 RBI, second behind Judge's 81. The runs scored are third best behind Judge's 85 and Paul Goldschmidt's 55. The slugging percentage, OPS and OPS plus, are all third best behind Judge and Jazz Chisholm. Along with the bat, the Yankees have also gotten the versatility that has become a big part of what Bellinger brings to the table. He's played all 3 outfield spots on the regular, 44 in left, 31 in center, 21 in right, plus 4 games of spot duty at first base, and he has been solid with the glove. His 4 outs above average are 8th among all American League outfielders. His 4 defensive runs saved are 12th. He's been better than both Trent Grisham and Aaron Judge in both of those metrics. Bellinger also has arguably 2 of the best highlights of the Yankees' first half, one with the glove, one with the bat. 7th inning of the Subway Series game on July 6th against the Mets. Bellinger makes a sensational shoestring catch of a low line drive by Juan Soto, and then alertly throws to Paul Goldschmidt to nail Francisco Lindor, trying to get back to first base to complete the 7-3 double play, effectively ending the Mets rally. As of now, it's atop the list for 2025's Play of the Year in Major League Baseball. Last Friday, July 11th, against his former team, the Chicago Cubs, Bellinger became the 3rd Yankee to hit 3 homers in a game this season. Aaron Judge did it on March 29 against the Brewers. Jason Dominguez on May 9th against the A's, making it the first time in team history that the Yankees have had 3 players with 3 home runs in a game in a single season. Each of Bellinger's was a 2-run homer, and he had almost a 4th, but was robbed on a leaping grand theft home run catch by Cubs right fielder Kyle Tucker. It's the 43rd 3-home run game in Yankees history, but Lou Gehrig in 1932 is still the only Yankee with a 4-homer game. Judge is going to continue to do Judgian things, but if the Yankees are to have a chance at finally ending the chase for 28, they'll need Cody Bellinger to keep doing what he's been doing. As for the first half Cy Young, this one is also a captain obvious choice. Max Fried. Yes, he's had a rough July. 3 bad starts. 1-1, 6.43 ERAs, allowed 11 runs, 10 earned against 15 hits in 14 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, 6 walks. That's a 1.5 whip. That's only a 14.1 strikeout rate and a 9.4 walk rate. All of those are ridiculously above his career norms, including this past Saturday's loss to the Cubs, where he allowed 4 runs, 3 earned, and left after 3 innings with a blister on his left index finger, which jumped his ERA to 2.43. It was at 1.92 through the end of June. But prior to that, he had been everything the Yankees had hoped for when they signed him to that big 8-year, $218 million contract. As over his first 17 starts, he went 10-2. The Yankees were 13-4 with that 1.92 ERA. In the 108 innings he pitched, he allowed just 81 hits, 104 strikeouts against just 21 walks. That's a 0.944 whip, 8.7 strikeouts per 9, 24.5% K rate, 1.8 walks per 9, 4.9 walk rate. Overall, even with the bad start to July, Fried's 11-3 with a 2.43 ERA and 20 starts in 122 innings. His whip is just 1.008. He's at 8.3 strikeouts per 9 against just 2 flat walks per 9. That's a 4.19 to 1 strikeout to walk ratio. He's allowing a slash line of just 211, 266, 317, a 584 OPS, strikeout rate of 23.1%, a walk rate of just 5.5%. Other than his May 30th start against the Dodgers, where he allowed 6 runs, all earned on 8 hits, including 2 homers in just 5 innings, and his June 20th start against the Orioles, where he allowed 3 runs, all earned on 7 hits in 6 innings, he's allowed 2 runs or less in his 15 other starts prior to July. That start against Baltimore still qualified as a quality start. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs or less. The other 15 starts in that stretch, super quality starts. 7 innings pitched or more, 2 earned runs or less. Exactly what you want out of the ace of the starting rotation. And it's why Fried was named to the AL All-Star team. Fried will go to Atlanta, which was his home for the start of his major league career, and he will be announced with the other American League All-Stars, but he will not pitch as he looks to recover from that blister. Now, this has been an issue for him in the past, as he's had 4 injury list stints due to blisters in his career in 2018, 19, 21, and 23, which have accounted for 5 total starts missed. Considering the current state of the Yankees rotation, with Garrett Cole out for the year before the season even started, reigning AL Rookie of the Year Luis Gil still recovering from his lat strain. He's not due back until August as of now. Clark Schmidt lost for the season and potentially most of next season as he recovers from Tommy John surgery. And Ryan Yarbrough out until sometime after the All-Star break as he recovers from an oblique strain. The Yankees need Fried healthy and throwing like he did through those first 17 starts, because until and unless reinforcements arrive, things are very much Fried and Rodon and then hold on. And that's not going to get it done for a team looking to not only reclaim its place atop the AL East, but get back to the World Series.
And shout out to Rodon, who, after his great start against the Cubs on Friday night, who was one of the best offenses in baseball. Yankees learned that in the next 2 games of that series. They are now, Rodon's now at a 3.08 ERA, and he'll be in the lineup for Fried, or in this rotation for Fried tomorrow at the All-Star game. With the nod to good old Jason Stark, let's talk about the flip side of this, Anthony. Give me the Yankees LVP, least valuable player, and Cy Yuck. Jason, I love that name. Might want to think of something else in my mind, but I am not the writer. You are. Give me those 2 choices for the first half.
You know what? I think we talked about him during our spring training shows. Anthony Volpe. You know, he's in year 3, and he's definitely it's been a struggle for him. I mean, he's going to the All-Star break, batting just 214, 10 home runs, 49 RBIs, 90 strikeouts to go with those stat lines. And his I mean, slash line total 214, 293, 393, and that's on par with his career average into 409 games. And it's not just the offense, but defensively he's also struggled. He has 11 errors coming into the final weekend before the All-Star break. And of course, he went in his last game before the break against the Cubs. He went another 0 for 3 afternoon. Hasn't had a multi-hit game since June 21st. So a whole month. And also he had a costly error in that game as well. But he was drafted in the first round back in 2019. Clearly high expectations. Many in the organization building him as next Vegeta, which might be kind of getting a little carried away considering Derek Jeter's a Hall of Famer. But since 2023, Volpe is one of 62 players who's registered at least 1,500 plate appearances during that time. He ranks last in average, on base percentage, on plate percentage, weighted runs created plus, and weighted on base average. This year alone, he's currently on pace for a 2 wins above replacement, which would be 24th among 30 starting shortstops. Despite all this, now Brian Cashman has been positive. He's trying to stick with Volpe. He's clearly still haven't lost any confidence in him. But the Yankees for the Yankees, they need Volpe to get back to what they saw last October in his postseason debut when he hit 286 and had 3 doubles. And the 1 home run he hit in the postseason happened to be the grand slam against the Dodgers in the Game 4 of the World Series. The lone game in that series, the Yankees actually won in that series. Now, Volpe, as a young player, you figure that he has the up and down, but right now he is really it's not just the bat, but the glove is not there neither. And those are 2 things that absolutely have to improve for the Yankees, particularly when you think about the infield, how much of the lack of production in the infield last year was a bit of an issue until the Jazz Chisholm trade midway through the year. My Cy Young, and this is recommended by the rabbi. It's going to be Luke Weaver, and I was going to go with Devin Williams because he had a terrible start to the season, but he's played better. It's been kind of a roller coaster with Weaver. And obviously, Weaver got to the great start, 1.05 ERA, a 0.71 WHIP over 24 appearances, including 8 saves, suffered a hamstring injury in June, and obviously placed on a 15-day DL with the left hamstring. Since coming back over in 8 appearances, that's 7 posts. He's allowed five. He's allowed 6 earned runs and 5 innings pitched. 11.37 ERA, 705 home runs, and just 6.1 innings. One of those home runs recently in the Subway Series against the Mets and Jeff McNeil, particularly. Obviously, the Mets would go on eventually win that game. His struggles comes at a time where the Yankees bullpen as a whole has been kind of struggling up and down, and it's been kind of very much inconsistent. And a big part of into why the Yankees went into that slump and eventually found a first place in the AL East. And obviously, Weaver was the guy last October, just like Volpe. This year it's been kind of injury related. So it's kind of a trend with my Cy Young and least favorite player. And these are two players who performed admirably well for the Yankees last October. This year, more of a struggle, and obviously the Yankees are counting on both of them to kind of turn back the page to last October in order to get the Yankees back to the postseason, eventually, evidently back to the World Series, where at least in this case, they will finish the job um, that they couldn't do last October.
And
Yeah.
Mr. Volpe, I'm very sorry that we talked bad about your son's struggles this year. Please just any comments,
Yeah,
please direct them to Anthony
you
Strait.
know
I
what?
will
I will.
be
You know what?
appropriately maligned. I will make
By
sure.
the way, I will pile on because I understand Mr. Volpe sticking up for his son. Met fans, come on, be classy, all right? Be better than that. That's the one thing I do feel so uncomfortable when you have family members of a player sitting in a visiting crowd because of nonsense like that possibly happening. But yeah, I mean, Met fans, come on, knock it off. And I say that from one Met
Better
fan
than
to another.
that.
You're much better than that.
I mean, Subway Series last game of the season. Yeah, I agree, but still, it's been rough. The injury did not help any situations
Oh.
to that bullpen. And speaking of, you're talking about a bullpen as you mentioned before. Luke Weaver last year. What my burning question is really going into the second half of the season is what the roles will be in the bullpen going forward. Luke Weaver, we mentioned, led the American League in opponent batting average, WHIP, and ERA until he got knocked out. And literally, the first thing that was said, I believe by Joe Girardi in his first game, is this is not the greatest situation when he was coming in a tie game, and then he immediately gave up a home run. This is what happens when you miss time, and this is going to kind of really just create the next set of musical chairs currently going around in a bullpen that just needs stuff to be better. Devin Williams is meant to be a fixer for this team at any point. This is meant to really bolster this team and allow this team to have 6 inning and 5 inning starts. Not the same guy. He's been up and down this year. His downs have been probably on the Yankee Stadium turf. His ups are fine. He has been looking a little bit better, but considering he hasn't looked like the same guy since Pete Alonso took him deep in that wild card game in Milwaukee last year, that doesn't help. And then the injuries. We talked about Luke Weaver. Mark Leiter Jr. stepped awkwardly on the base in Cincinnati. He has a stress fracture currently. Fernando Cruz is a good young player, had a great splitter, oblique strain. Jonathan Loizaga coming back from Tommy John surgery. Not there yet. 5.01 over 23.1 innings this season. Has been giving up a ton of home runs. He only gave up 6 a year ago. ERA is 4 for the bullpen. And again, this is supposed to be one of the strengths of this team, and now that's just really middle of the road. So I'm just curious of what they're going to have to do. They have to go to Ian Hamilton in a big spot on Sunday in a game that was tight with the Cubs, and Hamilton immediately gives up a home run. Hamilton was not used in any pressure situations this year. He didn't need to. So whether it becomes the old when you get Cruz on lighter off of the IL, it's like getting someone at the trade deadline, or if they actually get someone at the trade deadline, I'm very curious to see what happens in that part of the game. Like starters, you can fix Freed. You have an okay rotation that could be good, but to get yourself better, especially with an inconsistent offense too in certain spots, you're going to need that bullpen to provide you 3 innings almost every night, especially as we come down the stretch. And if you can't do that, the Yankees will probably not win. Will not win the division. They won't get as far as even getting into the DES at this rate. We'll see what happens.
Rabbi, here the subplot, the subplot to that I'm watching. Only because of the way he has so thoroughly and without any muzzle or buffer trashed the situation in Sacramento. He wants out. The A's can't wait to trade him. Is it a possibility that we get a Luis Severino New York Yankees reunion at the trade deadline?
I mean, it is a possibility, but the question is, where does he fit in? Honestly, that's not the problem. Is not the starting pitching.
No, but you can never have too much of it.
I think we've learned that this season. But unfortunately, that you can also never have enough pitching entirely.
Yes.
Ask the Yankees, and honestly, as we're about to talk about, ask their crosstown rivals, because we're about to talk about them right now. Time for the question and answer portion of the show. Here we go. Question: who are the 2025 Mets? Answer: I fucking have no idea. Are they the team who started this season at 45-24 and not having been swept in a series? Or are they the team that is 10-18 since? That makes them 55-42, 1 game out of first place. And then they've been swept 3 times since then. That's basically in a month. Time to examine. Anthony, ever the optimist. We know how much your optimism comes around here. Give me some awards. MVP, Cy Young for the first half.
Yeah, if you ask me, if who the Mets are right now, I couldn't tell you. I don't even know because you don't know what Met team is going to show up since last month. It's been literally hit or miss. They've looked great in some days, and then in some games, you wonder if they just showed up with got off the team bus. But yeah, my post half MVP is going to be the Polar Bear, and I think that's kind of a pretty obvious one. Pete Alonso. You think about the season he had last year in a contract year, where he hit career lows and batting averages. This year, complete opposite. He basically carried the Mets offense through that first month of that season when it seemed like everyone else could not hit in that lineup. The month of April, alone. Give me just a second. I just lost my. I got a cat bother me for half your rant. But yeah, so going to the All-Star break, batting 280, 21 home runs, 77 RBIs. But yes, in the month of April alone, he carried the Mets offense. National Player of the Month, Player of the Month, 343 slash lines, 475, 657, 7 home runs, 28 RBIs, 11 doubles in 31 games. And his performance, by the way, he also included a franchise record for April home runs, surpassing Dave Kingman. So clearly, he got into the hot start. And this on top of the fact that he has the 2-year, $54 million deal with an opt-out after this season. So clearly, Alonso's going to get paid. But he has definitely by far been the Mets' best player consistently. When you think about Francisco Lindor, get off to the slow start, and we know about Juan Soto's early season struggles the first couple of months of the season before he turned it on in the month of June. Alonso's really been that kind of the anchor in the middle of that Mets lineup that has been kind of the go-to guy, and he basically single-handedly won a number of games in that first month of the season for the Mets. So clearly, without question, he is my MVP in the first half. My Cy Young is Edward Diaz, and for Edward Diaz, it's a return of form. I mean, we remember what happened in 2023, the knee injury stuff in the World Baseball Classic. During a celebration, and you notice he don't exactly jump around during celebration these days. But last year, working his way back, you can tell he wasn't exactly the Edward Diaz that was dominant in 2022. This year, he looks more of his old self. 1.75 ERA in 36 games, 18 saves, has not allowed a run in over a month. Since April 23rd, actually, he's allowed just one run, a 26 in a third innings, 0.34 ERA, 0.72 WHIP, 39 to 6 strikeout based on balls ratio. And also, here's something I have not noticed, and I've been to many games, by the way. Outside of 18 or 19 save opportunities, he added a changeup to his repertoire, which is very unusual when you have a closer with the dominant stuff that he has. But he hasn't been, but according to the New York Post, he hasn't been comfortable using it enough. Now, I imagine if he can work that third pitch in and with the fastball and the slant that he already has, and just see how dominant he can be dead. But yes, my Cy Young pick, Edward Diaz, has definitely been the guy, the back to the closer that he was in 2022. The Mets are going to need him because between the injuries to the starting rotation, the middle relief being incredibly erratic and inconsistent, Diaz has been the one consistent in that bullpen that the Mets has been able to rely on. There's no coincidence that Diaz's presence. Remember 2 years ago, the Mets blew a lot of late games. And him being back there has been a big difference between them being a playoff team and missing the playoffs altogether. So yeah, Alonso and Diaz, kind of the two stalwarts of the Mets, has been kind of the anchors to this Met team. Now, what happened in the second half of the season? Again, Rabbi, you asked me what Mets team going to show up. I don't know, but if it's the good Mets, these two guys are going to be the catalyst for it.
It's amazing how back in the day with the Soto Jared Kelenic trade back in 2019, the one that brought Diaz over here, and also brought Robinson Cano over here, which he didn't really have too much of a Met career himself. Interesting looking back at those returns now and seeing that Diaz, who was meant to be the prize for the Mets, Cano was kind of just like a throwaway. Worked out pretty well so far. I still don't know what the temperature would be for a Met fan considering that trade, but it does work out that Diaz has become one of the best closers in this team's history.
Well, keep this in mind. This is we call it, for Met fans. It's been a long way because in 2019 they were ready to run Diaz out of town.
Yeah.
On a number of occasions, and then 2022 came around, and everything just kind of turned around. And you saw how drastically the Mets bullpen was after the knee injury, and then we came at last and kind of working its way back. Yeah, he wasn't exactly the same guy, even though he showed flashes of it, particularly closing out the Phillies in the division series. But you get this season, it just seems a lot different when he comes on. It's almost like he's literally the only sure thing coming out of that Met bullpen. Everyone else, on the other hand, I mean,
say much, not say much.
It's not saying a whole lot. You're just struggling to get 3 outs if you can get 3 outs out of these guys.
I'll dip into that a little bit. So will Jay right now. Cy Young and LVP for the Mets. Let's bring our pessimism over from the Bronx over to Queens.
Well, the LVP, I have to go with Francisco Alvarez, and I think this was an easy choice when you look at how big of a step he took backwards after a decent season in 2024. I mean, to the point that he got sent down to AAA. Though the case could be made that Alvarez has been going in the wrong direction since 2023, his first full season with the Mets. His batting average and on-base percentage have pretty much stayed in the same neighborhood, but his slugging percentage has dropped over 100 points since that rookie season of 2023. And the power outage that has occurred, he had just 6 extra base hits so far this season, is what ultimately led to his demotion on June 22. The drop in offense would be enough to earn him the first half LVP award, but his defense has suffered as well. Low-lighted by his framing, which was in the bottom 9% of all Major League Baseball catchers after ranking in the top 12% last season. Check out these offensive numbers. 2023, when he burst onto the scene, only a 209 batting average, only a 284 on base, 437 slash line, 721 OPS, 96 OPS plus, which basically puts him about 4 percentage points below a major league average hitter. but he had 25 homers and 63 RBI in 423 plate appearances, 382 at bats over 123 games. Last year, batting average up to 237, on base up to 307, slugging dropped 403, 710 OPS, 102 OPS plus, 11 homers, 47 RBI, and 342 plate appearances, 308 at bats over 100 games. 2025, 236, 319. So on base and average, same neighborhood. His slugging percentage just 333. It's a 652 OPS. His OPS plus all the way down to 90, just 3 homers, 11 RBI, and 138 plate appearances and 123 at bats across 35 games. Now, Alvarez had decided to overhaul his swing this past offseason. He wanted to be able to cover more of the plate, which would hopefully result in a better use of the entire field after struggling offensively in 2024. But a hamate bone fracture in spring training kind of set him back, as he wasn't able to apply those changes in game situations. According to the Mets hitting coach Jeremy Barnes, some of Alvarez's changes were good, but others needed to be reevaluated. Attempting to fix, change, tweak, or even overhaul a swing during the regular season is a challenge for even the most proficient major league hitters, so it's no surprise that Alvarez saw his production drop so precipitously. So far at AAA, Alvarez has tried to blend the 25 homer swing from his rookie year with what he's learned over the winter. So far, it seems to be working. In 18 games with Syracuse, he has a 250, 333, 672 slash line with 8 homers and 18 RBI. It's a 1005 OPS. 11 of his 16 hits have gone for extra bases. Half of them have left the yard. If he's able to bring this power surge with him when he's recalled to the show, he may go from least valuable player to most improved player, and the Mets would take that in a New York minute. As far as the Cy Yuck Award, this was a toss-up between starter Tyler McGill, who has allowed 4 earned runs in 4 of his 8 starts and completed 6 innings pitched just once since the calendar flipped to May, and reliever Ryan Stanek, who is the only member of the Mets staff who has thrown more than 20 innings and has a negative Baseball Reference wins above replacement, negative 0.6. What tipped the scales in Stanek's favor and led to me giving him the first half Cy Young Award was that he's been truly awful in high leverage situations so far this season, after being halfway decent in those situations last season. Overall, 2024, high leverage situation, Stanek allowed a 231, 334, 23 slash line, a 753 OPS to opposing hitters in 35 games, covering 91 plate appearances and 78 at bats. So far this season, in high leverage situations, Stanek has allowed a 342, 405, 579 slash line. It's a 984 OPS to opposing hitters in 17 games, covering 42 plate appearances and 38 at bats. This is a reliever that has had only 1 month, May, where his ERA was under 5, it was 104. His whip was under 1.6, 0.808, and his strikeouts to walk ratio was above 3.67. The other two, he's had that 3.67 was 1 month. He's had 2 months where it's just been 1. For a guy who Carlos Mendoza was hoping would be a consistent member of the bridge to Edwin Diaz, having a 6.52 ERA and a 1.862 walks plus hits in whip in 12 save situations covering 9 2/3 innings isn't going to get it done. His most recent outing against the Orioles in the first game of a doubleheader back on July 10th was a perfect encapsulation of why he's the first half Cy Yuck. David Peterson got the start, gave the Mets 7 scoreless innings. After allowing a leadoff single in the 8th, his day was done, and on came Stanek to face Gunnar Henderson, came on as a pinch hitter for Luis Vasquez. Stanek promptly gave up a 2-run homer to put Baltimore up 3-1. Stanek only recorded 2 outs, allowed another run via 4 walks and a sacrifice fly. He threw 31 pitches, only 11 for strikes. That's not going to get it done. Diaz is the only member, as Anthony said, of the pen who's doing anything. His Baseball Reference wins above replacement is above 1. He's the only one at 1.5. Huascar Brazoban, 0 flat. Reed Garrett, 0.7. Jose Budo, 0.9, are all under 1.0 and have ERAs and whips better than Stanek's. Not to mention better OPS marks in high leverage situations. The Mets need guys who have to get the outs between the starters and Diaz to be solid. Stanek needs to be better, or else someone else, either on the team or yet to arrive, will take his place as a late inning option.
And the funny thing about Stanek is in this whole situation, he's the one person who actually has stayed healthy in the Mets bullpen the entire season. The one that you probably don't care if he went on the DL in any way, shape, or form.
By the way, figure, right?
By the way, funny thing of Stanek blowing a lead for David Peters the day he gets named as an all-star replacement. Although, as we've learned, by the way, everybody goes to the all-star game, which we'll talk about in just a moment.
Unless you're a Philadelphia Philly.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Hold on. While the New York Mets have bounced back from this little tough stretch and won 2 out of their last 3 series going in, there is a lot to worry about. This is a team that held one of the bigger leads in baseball in their division early on in the season, but knowing the Mets leads don't really last long. And now the question is, where the hell are they going to go in the trade deadline? Now, there's 3 ways that they can go. They're all problems. Although they have a solid rotation right now, which is finally completely healthy. Everybody who they wanted to start the season with is in there. They have 5 people who are healthy. That is a record for the New York Mets starting rotation. However, as mentioned, Griffin Canning out for the year. He had a great year going in. You have Paul Blackburn, who is going to be a possible trade piece too. He's done. So it's really a question of, this is the team you need to talk about. You can never have enough pitching. They pretty much, them and the Dodgers have been the walking mash units this year when it comes to pitching staff. So the question is, do they get someone like from Baltimore, like Zach Eflin? Do they just decide to keep it steady? The questions remain on what they're going to do with starting pitching. You can go into the relief pitching also. They have very few southpaws in the bullpen right now. They only have Brandon Waddell and Richard Dickey Lovelady. If you didn't think I was going to get a Dickey Lovelady into this show, you were absolutely wrong. That's the real question too. Wow, about a Danny Colombe of the Minnesota Twins. That could be a possible situation in there because the Minnesota Twins have been struggling. And then you have an outfield. You have a center fielder. They have one of the worst center fielders in baseball right now offensively in Tyrone Taylor. Luis Robert might be a situation coming from the White Sox. Robert is batting 190 and would be a better option right now overall than Taylor would be. You got some cheap possibilities in there. You have center fielder. You need an infielder. You need a good, solid catcher, whether it be in the backup position or a guy who can kind of start every day. It sucks for teams in baseball now with the advanced wildcard system, with the wildcard system where you can go on a 10-game winning streak, hi Boston Red Sox, and go from a seller to a buyer in a New York minute, again, or a Boston minute in this case, or you can have a 10-game losing streak and go down the other way. But you're not going to have as many options, so you kind of have to scrape, I wouldn't say the bottom of the barrel, but kind of like the middle of the barrel. And I don't know what way the Mets want to go. Do they go one direction? Do they go the other direction? They haven't been notorious for making too many deals over the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think Jesse Winker was their really biggest pickup happening last year, and he's been still hitting good. He was hitting good in the postseason. He's had some big hits this year as well. I don't know what the Mets are going to do, but I'm interested to see what the Mets are going to do because that's going to be the key to if this team gets it run again in this postseason, or if they're going to kind of flame out like the team that proceeded for most of this last month, Anthony.
Yeah, and it's not a coincidence that the Mets free fall started with the injuries to the starting pitching. I mean, it literally started the day Kodai Senga went down. Coincidentally, due to an error throw by Pete Alonso at first base that led to his injury, and then it just kind of snowball from there. They'll get Sean Manaea back after the All-Star break. They actually pitched a couple of
They
innings
got him yesterday. And he had a good out, and he had a good outing in relief.
Yeah, good outing in relief. I mean, for the Mets, I think it's just more not just about the arms, it's about getting healthy. And that's been kind of the issue with the Mets starting pitching. As far as relievers, you're right. They don't have many left-handed relief pitchers to go to, and they gotta figure something out because it's not they have they kind of have the closer. It's the bridge getting to the closer that's been the problem for the Mets. Even when the starters are actually giving them good outings. I mean, they about to you said David Peterson basically gave a good start, and the bullpen couldn't hold a lead. That's happened a number of times over this last month, and it'd be interesting to see where the Mets go. I would think their best option would probably be to try to strengthen that bullpen more than anything. Then again, you never know what another injury to the starter going to happen with this team. So it's going to be like, okay, we know we need arms. You just don't exactly. We don't know if we need an arm for the starting pitching staff, or is it one or two arms come out of the bullpen. I mean, the Mets right now, they can flip a coin and just try to see where exactly they're going to go and come to trade deadline.
I'll leave you with one stat that I think probably makes them lean towards the bullpen. The Mets are tied for third with a couple of other teams uh, with 17 blown saves so far in the first half. Just saying.
And 17 blown saves in the first half with a really good closer.
Yep.
So that's not saying a lot. By the
17, way, 17 blown saves. Edward Diaz literally has 18 by himself, which tells you a lot about this Met team.
Yep.
By the way, the only thing I'm going to say is this. No one in the NL is playing 600 baseball right now. So there's a lot of possible ways teams can go if they want to play it safer, if they want to go for broke. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a surprise team like the Tampa Bay Rays playing at George Steinbrenner Field, so technically they're all home games for the Yankees, and the Tigers, who are pretty much also forward Yankees themselves, or a surprise player like Tyler Soderstrom of the Athletics. Surprises can come in many shapes and sizes, and one of those surprises has a nickname of Big Dumper, which we'll get into in a little bit. Let's take a look at three surprises, all players, starting in the Windy City with former Met Pete Crow-Armstrong, Mr. Kaplan.
Ooh.
Yeah, no one saw this coming. I mean, PCA was deemed a defensive specialist with stolen base speed while he was in the Mets farm system. And even last year with the Cubs, which was his first full season in the majors, his 2024 stats backed that up. In 410 plate appearances and 372 at-bats across 123 games, he had a slash line of 237 through 286, 384, 10 homers, 47 RBI, 46 runs scored, 27 steals, a 670 OPS, and an 88 OPS plus, a less than major league average hitter by 12%, but a solid defensive outfielder, as his 14 outs above average was sixth among all Major League Baseball outfielders, and his 11 defensive runs saved was 12th. At last year's All-Star break, he had a 203, 253, 329 slash line, and a 582 OPS with just 3 homers, 17 steals, and only 17 RBI. This year, at the All-Star break, he has a 265, 302, 544 slash line with an 847 OPS, 25 homers, 27 steals, 71 RBI, and the highest wins above replacement in the National League. His 5.4 Baseball Reference WAR is second in all of Major League Baseball to Judge's 7.0, and he's the starting center fielder for the National League in the All-Star game. Oh, and his defense has only gotten better. He leads all Major League Baseball outfielders with 16 outs above average already, and his 13 defensive runs saved is fifth. Those 25 homers are tied for fourth in the National League with teammate Seiya Suzuki. Those 27 steals are second in the National League, and those 71 RBI are third in the National League. PCA is the fourth fastest to reach the 25 homer, 25 steal mark in a season in Major League Baseball history, per MLB.com's Sarah Langs. Only Eric Davis, 69 games in 1987, Alfonso Soriano, 91 games in 2002, and Bobby Bonds, 91 games in 1973, did it faster than Pete Crow-Armstrong's 92 games. If the 23-year-old has an Achilles heel, besides the fact that he swings it almost everything, as evidenced by his chase rate of 44.3%, his 302 on base percentage, and his 4.5% walk rate. It's that he's much more comfortable and productive within the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. His home road slash line splits are pretty telling. At home, 301, 344, 572. It's a 916 OPS, 157 weighted runs created plus. On the road, just 235, 265, 520. That's only a 785 OPS and a weighted runs created plus of 112. His counting stats, on the other hand, are somewhat even home versus road. At home, 11 homers, 36 RBI, 19 steals, 35 runs scored. On the road, 14 homers, 35 RBI, 8 steals, 32 runs scored. His series against the Yankees at the house that Jeter built this past weekend was the latest example of his road struggles. He was just 1 for 12, that one hit being a single with only 1 RBI. Almost had a home run, but he was flat out robbed by Aaron Judge. PCA did return the favor, taking one away from the Yankee captain in the series. This Cubs team is expected to make the playoffs. They'll spend the second half of the season fending off the Brewers in the National League Central. They're one game back at the break, and they just will not go away. And that race for the division will be the crucible that will test Pete Crow-Armstrong. The book on the Cubs center fielder is now out there, and opponents will be making adjustments as to how to prevent him from doing damage. Can he adjust to those adjustments and keep putting up MVP caliber numbers? The answer will go a long way to determining if this first half was a flash in the pan or if Pete Crow-Armstrong is for real and ready to become the next face of the franchise on the north side of Chicago.
And considering the fact that he was traded for another all-star who ended up going to the Mets and Javi Baez, this is a double whammy for all Mets fans this year. Sorry, Anthony, I have to hit the knife a little bit more, just considering all of this stuff that happened going into that trade and coming out. It's one of the biggest surprises we've seen in baseball this season.
See, Anthony, I didn't do it. Rabbi did it to you.
Listen, I'm still bitter. I'm still bitter watching the Mets lose over the weekend, last week of the Sunday series. So they did go on a 5-game winning streak, so whatever. All right, Anthony, let's talk about someone who is awesome, controversial, and all of that stuff. It's the Miz.
Yeah, unfortunately,
but
it's
not
not the
that
Miz,
right?
Yeah, it's not the Miz.
Oh no, it's not the Miz.
No, it's not the Miz. You and I
Hey,
are familiar
can we
with.
take a minute and note the fact that I made a wrestling reference? Thank you.
He is.
Yes.
He is a lot of other stars, but yes, I understand that completely.
Yes,
I will
by
take
the
note of
way,
it. You will be checked on that.
yes. By the way, I gotta give Jake credit. Yes, he has been studying the world of professional wrestling specifically for this show, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, Jacob Mizor. Imagine if you're Jacob Mizorowski, and about a month ago you wake up and you get called up to the majors, and all of a sudden you're an all-star just like that. And that is what he finds himself in. 4-1, 2.81 ERA, 33 strikeouts, and 25 and two-thirds innings during his first 5 starts since being called up. On top of that, his very first pitch hit triple digits. And he's joining a Milwaukee Brewers team who is in the thick of a playoff in a pennant race. It would be a playoff team if the season ended today. They would be one of the wild card teams. But unfortunately, that's not why he is one of the surprise players. It's been well documented in Newsroom, he was selected to the All-Star team after just 5 starts over the weekend. And a lot of Billy Who came about it, particularly from the Philadelphia Phillies, Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber, who made it very known that it became a joke. By the way, Kyle Schwarber, I would not allow you to knock the Savannah Bananas, all right? This team, they are selling out football stadiums to Pete's
no. That's an unfair comparison.
All right? But here's the thing, and I gotta give the rabbi credit for this because he actually sent this to me about a few hours before the show. 13 players, including the 2 Phillies that you and I, Jay, were talking about, that might have been better selections over the weekend, were not available or flat out say no to the invite when Major League Baseball called them to participate in the All-Star game. Ranger Suarez flat out said no. Christopher Sanchez pitched yesterday and would not be available even if he was selected.
See, and here's the thing, and here's my Annie. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need to. We talked about this on text, but I kind of need to get this out there. Here's the thing: Max Fried was named to the All-Star team. He can't pitch, but he's still going down there and will get announced. Why is it that neither Suarez nor Sanchez, who was given his $50,000 All-Star bonus by the Phillies, so props to the Phillies ownership for doing that. Just because he said he couldn't pitch because he threw yesterday, you still could have given him the nod, let him come down to Atlanta and get announced. Granted, I understand the whole not being able to pitch because you pitched yesterday or pitched the day before, and that's sparking a whole new conversation about whether or not this game should be moved from Tuesday to Wednesday to allow that to happen and allow the break to be longer so those pitchers can recover. But I'm sorry, I got a problem with a kid who has only had 5 starts being the guy who gets named as the replacement when there are plenty of other guys who have better resumes this year in the National League and should have at least been given the call, let alone be assigned this way. This is Major League Baseball, assigning a guy because you have to have 32 players, one from each team. I'm sorry, no disrespect, this kid's probably going to be pretty good. 5 starts, I'm sorry, he's not deserving of the nod.
And look, I would have agreed with you until I found out about the 13 players that said no.
Said no.
Yeah, they're 12 players. Like, I hate the fact that the kid is getting a lot of the heat when it's totally not his fault. I mean, he came out.
No, it's not his fault. My issue isn't with him. My issue is with Major League Baseball. This is Rob Manfred getting it wrong because this is a publicity stunt.
And look, not for nothing, but when you have an All-Star game in the middle of July, in the slowest month of the slowest moment of the sports calendar, when there's literally nothing else going on, there probably needs some kind of juice to kind of get the All-Star game over, get people to tune in and watch, even if it's for a few minutes. This is exactly like the All-Star game that us three grew up on, where it was literally the premier summer event you had to tune into because you wanted to see your favorite All-Stars participate. For me, it was a great joy as a Met fan to see my team represented. Wearing, by the way, they're going back to the traditional individual home away uniforms this year.
About fracking time they got back to that.
To actually see that. And look, the young man, look, he did exactly what he was told. You can't fault him for saying yes when 12 other guys before him says no, and Sanchez, who would have been a great choice, pitched and then they had this rule that you gotta be available for at least 1 inning to even qualify. Look,
and that rule needs to get changed also.
Yes, I think Major League Baseball clearly deserves some heat for this.
Yep.
But at the same time, when you have 12 guys say no, and you come down to the young kid who, by the way, hey, look, I'm old to remember Matt Harvey at one point being kind of forced to be a starter because the game was at Citi Field, and he was the pitching phenomenon. Paul Skeens had 11 starts, and we all thought he was lights out. We wanted to see him. I wanted to see more of him and Livy Dunn, by the way.
Starts, though, and he deserved everything.
And 11 starts.
He's pitching again this year.
And the thing is, too, the Mets is not starting. I mean, he's basically just an injury replacement last minute. And we've seen it in the NBA, too. I mean, how frustrating it was growing up and seeing Anthony Hardaway make the All-Star team as a starter and play 15 games. I mean, that was – and I loved Anthony Hardaway, but that's why I thought fan voting was a terrible idea. But in this case, at least the kid just filling up a roster spot. It's a dream come true for him. I do with Carl Schwarber just because they did say he'll talk to him. I guess to smooth things over because look, you're 24 years old. You get called up, suddenly you're an all-star, not by choice because everyone else said no. You're like, hey, I'll take the opportunity. He might not pitch anyway. He's just still to fill the roster. But like I said, he's been I've seen this stuff. He's going to be really good. he's gonna have the Milwaukee Brewers the second half of the season, which I think is the most important thing in all this. I kind of lost it. He's 6 for 7, by the way. I mean,
Oh, it's
when you
insane.
he's six for
His build
seven
is
and
insane.
he's throwing triple digits at that rate. I mean, that is the scary thing. I mean, you think John Crump having triple digits thrown at him already, Johnson of all people, was a heart attack waiting to happen?
Mm-hmm.
This kid is going to be. I mean, I'm looking forward to the National League Central pennant race
Yep.
more than anything because of it's wide open. The Cubs, you have the Brewers right there, kind of nipping at the heels, and like 2 games out, and then you have this young pitching phenom, and we've had plenty of those in the last decade make all-star appearances. Case in point, Matt Harvey. And what he's going to bring to the table in the second half of the season, I just want the young man to go have fun. He's in Atlanta. Enjoy yourself. Be a sponge. You got some of baseball's best right there for the picking. Pick their brains, figure things out. You're gonna be hanging out with some of the best pitchers, and just pick up advice that you can use moving forward. I think that would be the best experience for him as far as this All-Star game is concerned. Don't worry too much about pitching, the
Yeah, no,
outside noise.
absolutely.
I think
I
that would
was
be
gonna.
if I was talking to him, that would be my advice to him. Go have fun, learn from everyone you possibly can, whether it's managers, your fellow teammates, even the opposing players on the American League side, and just enjoy the moment because you don't know when this experience is going to happen again. Hopefully for him, you have plenty more when there's less controversy behind it.
And I
And
think
the other thing he needs to remember is that I understand, like, he kind of clapped back a little bit on social media.
Yeah, that didn't make him look good with the tweet.
Here's
And I
the
think
other
he did
lesson.
walk it back today.
guys,
And
guys,
that's
one
the
time.
thing. He needed to do that because he needed to recognize that the vitriol that was coming wasn't about him.
Yeah, he did, and he walked it back today. And I think he was smart to finally
He recognized.
after the heat kind of drew out, he recognized that it wasn't towards him personally, and I think Carl Schwarber being a veteran, and putting out there that he was going to talk to him. I think that is something that a veteran should do, especially when it was clearly a misunderstanding of what happened. And I get the feel these players for trying to speak up for their teammates, but then when you find out the 2 teammates you were speaking up for, one of them actually declined, flat out saying no. It makes it look really bad on everyone. It makes it really look bad on a part of Strowman and Turner when you find that out and that you
And
was
hopefully,
coming from a good place and it blows up in your face
and
because the guy said no at the last minute.
and hopefully we could all kind of move on away from this as we go into the game. Let's talk about the third surprise because I'm now sick of Jacob Mizorowski immediately after all of this talk and talk about somebody who has made headlines and just about an hour ago won the home run derby. Although he won on a tiebreaker in the first round literally because he hit a ball 1 inch farther than
Rabbi,
Oakland A's slugger Brett Rucker, which is ridiculous, by the way.
Rabbi,
It's Cal Raleigh, by the way, but go ahead,
yeah,
Anthony, really, really quick.
before you continue, and it's a reference to his nickname. Did his milkshake bring on the boys to the yard? I just need to know.
Oh, no.
I just want to know. I had to get that out my
And
system.
damn right, I'm muting you for that one, by the way. Yeah, I'm damn right I'm muting you for that one, just to say that. Okay. Let me just get you done. You can unmute on your side. Thank you. All right. With all of the big dumper jokes that we're talking about, what Cal Raleigh has done as a catcher who basically catches 100 games a season is effing phenomenal. He is a very superb catcher. He already has had many good years. The most after any catcher's first 4 years in MLB history with 93. This year is 38 home runs and 10 stolen bases. His 38 home runs in the first half, that is second all time. The only person to do that is that many in the first half is Barry freaking Bonds. He never hit over 450 as a right-handed hitter this year. That's changed. He was hitting 12% above league average over the first 4 years of his career. This year, it's nearly 100% above league average and career best marks and hard hit, barrel, and walk rates to go along with the lowest strikeout and chase rates of his career. He has his career high already for a season, even with 3 months to go in the league. With 3 months to go in the season, he had it already. He has the most home runs ever for a Mariners player after the first half. He is slashing 267, 377, 645. He is doing this, by the way, in one of the worst ballparks to hit in the world at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, although there are some numbers that say he would have actually hit less if he was in Yankee Stadium, but that's another moment for another time. I haven't gotten those stats, but it's kind of true. Again, you are crouching 100 times a year, doing all of this stuff as a catcher, and you are probably going to break the record for most home runs in a season by a primary catcher. That's 48 by Salvador Perez in 2021. That's going to be broken. You'll become most likely the third catcher in MLB history to have a season with 9+ WAR. He already has, over his first 75 games, 4.1 baseball reference wins above replacement. He is just an insane things. And most likely, by the way, he'll probably not win the AL MVP to Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge just is pretty much just synonymous with that award. But what Raleigh has done this year has been insane for a team that was lacking hitting for many years, although they're still kind of a little lost in the standings right now, in second place by 5 games to the Houston Astros. They would not be. They would be. I believe they would. They would be a playoff team today. They would be the third wild card if it went along. What Cal Raleigh this year has done is just defied all logic, defied all boundaries. And in a season where in a league where you want stars just to come out of the woodwork, Cal has certainly come out of the woodwork. Like, the spot behind Judge, we thought could be Bobby Witt, which had kind of a little bit of a down season this year, along with the Royals. But what Raleigh has done in power numbers, he could get the AL record for home runs if he continues on this pace. Will he? I don't know. Again, catcher hitting over a catcher, even in this modern era, hitting 50 home runs is freaking ridiculous. And that's the low end of the spectrum for Mr. Raleigh. All big dumper jokes aside, he really is bringing those home runs to the yard. All right, moving on. Let's go to our last segment. We went all teams for our disappointment of the first half because, frankly, I have a lot of Sandy Alcantara fans after me. I'm not going to put him down for disappointment this year. And Sandy, please become a Yankee. We will do anything except give up Spencer Jones. Do not do that. Okay.
Let's give up George Lombard, please.
And Spencer Jones. Neither of those. Neither of those. No Lombard, no Jones.
There we
go. Keep that in mind. No big starters. Sandy Alcantara, I don't care if you have an 80 ERA this year. We all love you. 6+, but it doesn't matter. All right, Jay, start with the team that was lifting up a trophy 2 years ago as we go to disappointment, the team's edition.
Yeah, I went with the Texas Rangers. This is the team that I picked in our, baseball preview to rebound from a non-playoffs year of 2024 and return to being a contender in the AL West. Man, have these guys made me look bad so far this season. The Rangers are 48-49, 8.5 games behind the Astros, who we all thought would take a step back in the AL East. Though Texas's run differential, 393 scored versus 346 allowed, should have them at more like 54-43, which would have put them at 2.5 games back. They haven't been in first place since April 26th. Their high water mark of 6 games over 500 was reached on April 6th. They've been shut out 10 times and have blown 21 leads. Their 7-5 record through the first 12 games of July is the only time they've had a winning month since going 3-2 back in March. They went a combined 38-42. That's a .475 winning percentage over April, May, and June. Despite a stellar turn from the top 3 in their rotation, the Rangers have hovered around the 500 mark all season because, just like last season, their offense hasn't held up its end of the deal. Jacob deGrom has reminded folks just how good he is when he's healthy and able to take the ball every 5th day. In 19 starts, he's put up a 9-2 record, a 2.32 earned run average. He's averaging almost 6 innings a start, has a 0.908 whip, 9.1 strikeouts per nine. That's a 26.2% strikeout rate against just 1.9 walks per nine. That's a 5.6% walk rate. And he has a 4.71-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Opponents have a slash line of just 194, 241, 323 against him. That's just a 565 OPS. This is why he made the AL All-Star team for the 5th time, though the first since 2021 with the Mets. Nathan Eovaldi has been, well, Nathan Eovaldi. 16 starts, 7-3 record, 1.58 earned run averaging about 5.7 innings per start, has a 0.846 whip, 9.3 strikeouts per nine. That's a 27 flat strikeout rate against 1.4 walks per nine. That's a 4 flat walk rate. He has a 6.71-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Opponents, their slash line against him, 194, 237, 286. That's just a 523 OPS. Tyler Mahle has been a pleasant surprise as the number 3 starter in 14 starts. First time he's reached double figures in games started since 2022 when he had 19 with the Reds and 4 with the Twins. He's got a 6-3 record, a sparkling 2.34 ERA. He's averaging only about 5.5 innings per start. His whip is 1.13. He is averaging 6.5 strikeouts per nine. It's an 18.2 strikeout rate and 3.2 walks per nine. It's an 8.8 walk rate. He kind of needs to get that a little under control. That's why his strikeout to walk ratio is just 2.07-to-1. Opponents have a slash line of 214, 282, 296. It's a 579 OPS. However, Patrick Corbin, Jack Leiter, and Kumar Rocker, the other 3 Texas starters who have made at least 10 starts, all have losing records, ERAs above 4.15, whips above 1.13, Baseball Reference WAR, wins above replacements of 0.3, 0 flat, and negative 1.2 respectively, and OPS is allowed of 746, 695, and 851 respectively. The bullpen, other than closer Luke Jackson, who after allowing 3 runs on opening day, went 32 appearances, allowing more than 1 earned run just once before he gave up 5 across 4 appearances so far in July. That's why his OPS is up to 1.12 in high leverage situations. Other than him, bullpen's been pretty solid. Hobie Milner, Robert Garcia, Crow-Armstrong, and Jacob Webb have helped the Rangers to a 3.37 ERA, 4th best in Major League Baseball in terms of bullpens, and a 1.23 whip, 7th best in bullpens in Major League Baseball. But they're one of those teams that's tied with the Mets with 17 blown saves, and none of those guys have a Baseball Reference wins above replacement above 0.5. But even with the bullpen being more erratic than the Rangers would like, they'd be a lot closer to that 54-43 projected record if the bats were, for the most part, not repeating the struggles of 2024. Every projected lineup regular has struggled, other than shortstop Corey Seager, who has a slash line of 266, 372, 473, second on the team in batting average, first in on-base percentage and slugging, 13 homers, 30 RBI, a team-leading OPS of 845, and team-leading OPS plus of 143. And his 3.3 Baseball Reference wins above replacement is also tops on the team, despite only playing 65 games due to 2 stints on the injured list in May, as he only played 8 of the Rangers' 28 games in that month. The other 7 Rangers who have at least 280 plate appearances and at least 240 at-bats, only Swiss Army knife Josh Smith has a batting average above 275 and an on-base percentage above 350. His 277 batting average leads the team. His 353 on-base percentage, second to Seager, as is his 769 OPS and 123 OPS plus. No other hitter has a slugging percentage above 435 or an OPS above 770. Wyatt Langford leads the team with 15 homers. His slash line is just 242, 322, 433. OPS is 756, OPS plus a 117. His 2.8 wins above replacement is second to Seager's. And then there's Adolis Garcia and Marcus Semien, 2 keys to the 2023 World Series champs who are still not playing up to that level. Garcia is tied for second with 13 homers, and he leads with 56 RBI, but his slash line is almost as bad as last season's. 234, 279, 404. His OPS is just 682. His OPS plus 95. which would mean that overall he's 5% worse than the average major league hitter. Simeon's numbers aren't much better. 239, 317, 378 slash line, 12 homers, 49 RBI, second on the team behind Garcia. His OPS is just 695 and barely better than a major league average hitter with an OPS plus of just 101. The Rangers are still miraculously just 3.5 games out of the second AL wildcard as we hit the All-Star break. Considering how bad they've underproduced as a team, that's amazing. If the bullpen can do a better job of holding those leads and the bats of Garcia and Simeon come closer to their 2023 numbers, then maybe the Rangers will move off the crushing disappointment list and back onto the returning to playoff list.
The Angels are actually only a half a game behind the Texas Rangers, and you couldn't ask me to name 5 Angels right now unless you put it down.
I don't think I could either.
Anyway, Anthony, by the way, I do have a update to do it to clear Kyle Schwarber's name. It was Nick Castellanos that said the Savannah Banana comments, not Kyle Schwarber. I just wanted to clear Schwarber of insulting the great name of the Savannah Bananas out there. So, with that, Anthony, give me your disappointment from the first.
My disappointment, and I'm not going to wood on this because as a Met fan, we kind of see this team rise from the grave too many times during the second half of a season, particularly just 3 seasons ago. It's the Atlanta Braves. And right now, they're going to the All-Star break at 42-53, 12.5 games out of first place, 9.5 games out of a playoff spot altogether. And they've only spent 2 days so far this season at 500 or above. They got out to a bad. The season started out bad. They lost match free, obviously to the Yankees, and then they proceeded to lose their first 7 games of the season. And look, Rabbi, we talked about it earlier this season. I thought it was just admiration. They eventually turned it around. Look at we saw what happened with the Mets last year when they started out 0-5. But this team had just been flat out bad and consistently bad all season. It starts with the offense. I mean, they're literally near the bottom of the league, bottom of the majors in all play percentage. Ozzie Albies, Marcell Ozuna, Michael Harris Jr. in particular have really struggled offensively, which has contributed to that. It's got to the point where that fans want Harris to be demoted and Albies to be traded immediately. But on top of that, the pitcher has completely fallen apart too due to injuries. Chris Sale, Spencer Schoenbach has spent significant time on the disabled list. Raisel Iglesias has struggled. The Braves 11-22 record in 1-run games headed into the final weekend for the All-Star break. Spencer Strider hasn't exactly been 100%. Bernardo Lopez made just 1 start before he was lost for the season. By the way, Jerickson Profar got suspended for 80 games, and even if the Braves make the playoffs, he would not be eligible to be on a postseason roster at any point this season due to the suspension. And for the Atlanta Braves, it gets to a point of with the trade deadline approaching, do you become sellers? I mean, the Braves have a lot of their core players signed through next season. And unless they go on a miracle second half run, which this Brave franchise have done plenty of times, it is a question. What do you do? Do you start trying to get some younger pieces moving forward? Excuse me. Moving forward, try to maybe restock the bullpen. Maybe move a couple of the guys, the veterans you already have. It's a lot of question marks in Atlanta. By the way, the highlight of the Braves season may be the fact that they are the host of the All-Star game. This tomorrow night. So the Atlanta Braves is my disappointment. I put that with an asterisk and a knock on wood because they're never quite out of it. They're like Jason and Friday the 13th. You think they're going away. You think you finally outrun them, and then suddenly, like a teleportation, they just pop up right in front of you. But this Brave team is clearly not being the Atlanta Braves team that we've seen in the last couple of years. They they went on a great September stretch to get to the postseason last year. And keep in mind, it was between them and the Mets on the final weekend, the final week of the regular season. But this season, it just felt like something was off. And like I said, losing Max Green kind of jump started that. But the 0-7 start, the injuries to the pitching, and the fact that this team is just not hitting the ball at all, and it's up and down the lineup with the exception Ronald Acuna, who has been their one bright spot, coming back from a second ACL injury, to get back in the All-Star form. But this Braves team had a lot of question marks, going into the second half of the season.
But
There
every
are,
time you think they're out, Major League Baseball pulls them back in.
Yeah,
however, I will say this, and Brian Snitker better watch out. Atlanta right now is the fourth worst team in the National League by record. Three teams below them: Pittsburgh, Washington, and Colorado. And what do they all have
What?
in common? They've all
Wow.
fired their coaches this year. So
Wow.
not good at all for
Ooh.
Atlanta.
Dun dun dun.
Anthony, I will see your 42 and 53 Braves, and I will raise you if not the biggest disappointment this year, the second biggest disappointment this year, and I'll raise you a team that's also fired their manager, the 43 and 52 Orioles. The Orioles have been a major disappointment. This was said perfectly by Kerry Miller of Bleacher Report. No one could have imagined the Orioles would be battling the White Sox and the Pirates for the best odds in the 2026 draft lottery.
Right?
This is a team that was expected to not just contend, but possibly make this their year in a division where everybody is over 500. Toronto 55 and 41, Yankees 53 and 43, Boston on a huge winning streak right now, 53 and 45, Tampa Bay 50 and 47. You find the Orioles down there 6 games back of Tampa. And that's insane considering what's happened. What's the problem? Could it be the fact that they never really replaced Corbin Burns when he went into free agency and got picked up by the Diamondbacks? Was it the fact that they lost Grayson Rodriguez and Zach Eflin earlier in the season? They really haven't been the same since. Is it the fact that they lost Anthony Santander? Is it the fact that Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson had a dramatic decline this year? Is it all the people they put on the IL? Is it the fact that Gunnar Henderson came up too quickly, didn't really have spring training, and hasn't really done too much at all? Is it the fact that this is, as according to Jason Stark in one of his columns, I think it was the surprises of the first half, this might be the most disappointing team of modern times.
wow.
They haven't, they just tried to add free agents and it just hadn't worked. It's a great core, but you have Adley Rutschman, AL All-Star catcher a season ago. And the last year, the last full calendar year of games, 212, 11 home runs, 40 RBIs, 625 OPS. And now he's looking like a guy who is just not there anymore. Second half of the year last year, 207, 3 homers, 20 RBIs. And now, who the hell knows? There are so many different things out there. They just, again, they didn't add free agents. They didn't really do anything to improve this team at all. And then you have the number 2 pick in the 2020 draft, Heston Kierstad. He's been a huge disappointment. Negative 1.5 WAR, 192 average, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs when he was up with the team. Now he's in Norfolk and he's hitting 146. Not good. Colton Cowser and infield Jordan Westburg have missed times this year, but both of them are still disappointing. 217 and 31 home runs, significant power. 8 home runs, 17 runs, 8 home runs, driving in 17 runs this season. Westburg 243, 9 home runs, 17 RBIs, 780 OPS. 14 player, and also by the way, Jackson Holiday's actually had a decent year, 260, 724 OPS, 11 home runs, and 36 RBIs. But his brother just got drafted to the Colorado Rockies, so Holiday is now about to become the third most talented Holiday in the family. So sorry, and they're going to his hometown team. And just young position players that have been disappointing. Tyler O'Neill, who is, I think, starting the All-Star game for Baltimore at the DH spot, removed from the IL last week. They added Gary Sanchez to it when he was on the team, and any team with Gary Sanchez can't be disappointing, huh?
Yes,
If
it
they
is.
even go 14 and yes, I know. Now they have been better under their interim manager Tony Masalino, 24 and 16 over their last 40 games. But June 3rd, they were 7 games out of the final wild card spot, and as we talk today, they are 7 games out of the final wild card spot. If they can get to even 500 by the trade deadline, who knows? But the fact that we're considering the Orioles as sellers at this year of the trade deadline, when the expectation has been big time buyers and a team that could really, really make some noise, you can take the Angelos out of the team, but you can never take the Angelos out of the franchise.
No.
Rabbi, I got to tell you, it's almost like the way they got smacked out of the playoffs last year, they just still haven't recovered from it. I thought that they would, that Hyde would get a little more rope after what he was able to do last year and, kind of guiding them through that rebuild. But we've talked about it before. His abrupt firing would seem like something an Angelus would do. But I guess it's just, the price of being the manager of the Baltimore Orioles these days. It's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, he had a long run as that team's manager, and the expectations were high. Like you said, they're a lot better now, but they were 15 and 28 at the time of that firing. And for a team that has not the expectations of previous Orioles teams, that is just a no-go. And honestly, I don't know what can lead this team around. We've had some big disappointments and some big surprises this year as we head towards the second half or the final 60 games of the season. I hate calling it the second half, but whatever. Again, that's baseball and all-star math for you. That is our show for Jay Kaplan and Anthony Strait. I am, and you're not going to believe this, the original nicknamed Big Dumper. Look it up, kids. It's true. My name is Stephen Rabinowitz. We said it on our socials before, but let's say it again. YouTube.com/on the sports lines is where you can find our stuff on demand, previous and now, and Facebook.com/on the sports lines. We were not there live tonight, but we will be there live in the future, and we'll put up some stuff there, including a link to tonight's show. And there's a third little thing known as Twitter, Jay.
Yep, our handle there is at ONTH Sportslines, where you'll find a link to each new show, including today's, along with tidbits and nuggets from the world of sports that we think are worth your time to check out. We talked on the show about how Major League Baseball needs to find a better way for fans to watch their teams on TV. Current model of chasing the biggest check from a broadcast partner isn't working. Andrew Marchand of The Athletic has a plan to improve the situation, and it solves for the 3 S's: simplicity, scarcity, and scale, as it relates to MLB's large inventory of games, regular season and postseasons. The link to his piece is on our Twitter page. It's very well thought out, and the read is very much worth your time.
I'm going to add a 4th S to that, and that's called See Ya. We'll talk to you the next time when we'll talk about NFL training camp. Until then, see you next time on the Sports Lines. Good night.
Good night, everyone.